Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Mike here. Hope you're having a great day or night. Today's video is kind of going to be kind of all over the place. Have some thoughts on eBay. Just been dealing with a lot of headaches with eBay lately, and it's just getting to the point where it's like, it's frustrating. And I know a lot of you guys get frustrated as well with eBay. And so I'm going to show you a couple things with, number one is a return I got, and two, negative feedback. You know, that seems like that's all I'm getting these days. I mean, I'm getting sales, but at the same time, it's like negative, or it's return, or, you know, I'm an idiot. Been selling the platform since day one, and I just haven't seen so many issues as of lately, especially the past 3 months. It's been craziness, and I can only understand, I can only guess what's going to happen in the future now with eBay's new policies for the spring seller update. So frustrated at the moment, but it is part of the game. So let's see what we do today. Okay, so I got this return on eBay. It is a cell phone, and it was fully tested. Everything was clean about it. About almost 2 months went by, and the buyer says, hey, I just got this thing and got around to opening up, and he said that there's some cracked screen. So I'm going to open this up here, got my knife, and we're going to see what this return is about. Been getting a lot of returns on eBay lately, and it's getting to be frustrating. And but it is part of the game. There's no doubt about it. So let's see if this particular buyer is being honest, or if he used it, swapped it, who knows. Let's open this up. Wow. So this is how it comes, right? Like, not even secure, just thrown in here. All right. Here's the phone, and you know, here's the packing slip from eBay that says doesn't match description or photos. So let's open this up, see if it's indeed cracked screen. What I'll probably have to do, because it didn't have a cord with it, so I'll have to probably charge it to see if it's fully functional. Okay, I do see a crack here, and that wasn't there. I don't know if you can see this. There's a crack right here. Maybe I could stop it. It's right there. You see that little mark right there? There's a small crack right there. And it kind of goes all the way through, which that's not how it was when I sold it. So it is what it is. Plus here, there's some goo on it in the back. The only way to really tell is I'll have to go through charge the phone and see if, if the battery's too low. We'll see if this is actually the true phone I sent. Okay, so I got the phone fully charged here, and I ran through some stuff. This one's hard, guys. I'll be honest with you here. As you can see, here's the photo I took for eBay, and you can't see this crack that's on here. It's very, very thin and not very noticeable, to be honest with you. So what I did is, did a comparison with this phone that I got the photograph of here and just holding it here, and I can't see any crack on the phone in the picture, right? The phone that's in my hand here, you can see there's a crack there. So I don't know if he dropped it or what the deal was, but I want to show you a couple things here. I know originally I showed that, you know, there was a flaw in the back of this, and yeah, when I sold it, it did have a flaw there. So I was kind of, I totally forgot about that when I sold it. Been selling a lot of phones lately. But let me show you this here. This is a way to tell if somebody's used the phone or not, especially if they put a SIM card in, or they did any changes to anything like that, or change the serial number, or swap phones. I always take screenshots of the phone's hardware information. So, you know, you got the model numbers, the serial numbers, the uptime of what it was, the Wi-Fi, etc., right? Now, the Wi-Fi really doesn't matter. It's basically this serial number here, and you want to look at if they put a SIM card in, or if they put any call logs. And I just looked through the phone briefly. It didn't look like you make any calls, so I'm going to kind of just chalk this one up as a loss here. I still think I could sell this phone even with this minor little crack here. It doesn't even look like it's I can't even feel it with my phone, with my finger, to be honest with you guys. So here I'm just going to say, okay, the buyer wasn't happy, not a big deal. We're going to refund him the money, close the case, and call it a day. But when you're selling stuff like this, you always want to keep track of just, again, great photographs, making sure people can see it on. If there's any flaws, you'd be able to see it in this photograph here. But at the same point in time, one of the most important things is make sure you're getting the right serial numbers back. You get a lot of people that they crack their phone and they figure, oh, let me just go on eBay and I'll buy a new one and then swap out their old phone so they get their money back. It's kind of a growing trend that's been happening for years on eBay, but at the end of the day with this, my resolution is just to refund them the money. I'll resell the phone either locally or back on eBay, and it sucks, but it is what it is, and we're just going to have to keep continuing moving forward, reselling items like this online. Okay, so this next item I'm going to talk about is a men's blazer that I'd sold. I had it forever, and it just it was just an average blazer here. Before I get into the item, let's just make note here at the very top. I mean, these photos are just terrible. If you're going to be selling blazers and stuff like that, I think you need to up your game up, like maybe like this here. You got to have nice, clean photos of the stuff, just not thrown on a table and using eBay promoted listings to. If you're doing that and you think you're going to sell a lot of these items, it's going to be a tough market for you. And then you got eBay's just sponsored links, it's spam fest eBay, right? So here it is, men's Juicy Couture 40S 2-button sport coat blazer jacket. Now let's look at the photos real quick here. Let me show you something here. So we got the straight shot photo there. That's a little blurry. But right here, I want to show you guys here. Just inside, showing it's lined. There's the inside, had graphics screen printed on the inside there. But here's what we have, 42, okay? Now, this is just my experience from selling blazers for many, many years, that a lot of times the blazer size doesn't mean that's the actual size, right? This could be a whole discussion for an hour about why is that. It's just better, in my opinion, to go off measurements. And there's a lot of charts that are out there. You can go to Google or look on YouTube and find, kind of the measurements of what a 42 would be, right? And that's what I did with this circumstance here. I decided that, yes, the jacket did say 42, and I could have listed it as a 42, but I decided to list it as accurately as somebody who's shopping for their exact same size, So let me go scroll down here, and I always mention, in the details here, shirt and tie is not included with the listing, only the jacket. Lightly worn in great condition. Please refer to measurements below. As we all know, people on eBay, when they're shopping, they don't look, and for me, this is mind-blowing if you're buying a blazer or a sports coat that you wouldn't look at this information. So here, we compare measurements below to ensure the right fit. This is why I put the measurements there so people can ensure it fits correctly, right? So just some details about this blazer: no lapel, dual vent, 3 exterior pockets, 2 interior pockets, fully lined, 100% cotton. Now here is where I go into detail and say, listen, the size, tag says 42 US, but it actually fits more like a 40S. And that's based off the measurements that I have here, right? And everybody does things differently in eBay. Some people don't, put this extra time in to investigate, hey, is that a true size 42? They'll just say 42, and then they'll get a return. Somebody will say it's too big or too small, whatever it may be. I try to give people the accurate measurements. So, for example, if I was to buy a blazer or sports coat, this is the type of the information I'd be looking for, right? Because I'd go, hey, well, this guy's been selling for a while, and he's had some good feedback. This is that, and if I get the item and it measures up to this, I'm a happy camper. So what ended up happening here was just no interaction at all. Shipped it out, buyer gets it, and bam, negative. Coat advertises 40S. It's at least a 42R for a skinny guy. So, he wasn't too pleased, but he also didn't reach out and say anything here, right? Even though I clearly stated in the description that, yes, the jacket says 42, but it's a 40S. And if he's looking for, a 40S that does not fit, he doesn't say if it fit or not, So, he just, this is the new society where, instead of working out problems, people want to slam you, right? Or leave negative feedback here. So I could call eBay. Actually, this is not one of my accounts here, so I physically can't call eBay. This is one of my wholesale accounts I've been using for a while. which to be honest with you, I haven't listed anything on this account since October. Looking to revamp this more in the summer and do some other things with it. But another story, another day. But the point here, what I'm trying to say is that it's just like, why? Why didn't you reach out and say, hey, listen, because if there's a problem here and you spent $49 on this blazer and it didn't fit, I mean, return it. So this person hasn't opened up a return, no messaging back and forth at all. Just, hey, code advertises 40S, it's at least a 42R for a skinny guy, and who's to say? Is this guy an aficionado of blazers? Is he unaware of how the measurements go? Is he unaware of his true fitting? I don't know. Not my job. If you're a buyer, you need to be educated on these things to understand, is this going to be a proper fit? And then again, if it's not a proper fit, go through the steps to return the item. Okay, that's what I expect. That's what I would do. I wouldn't just leave somebody a negative. And even though in reality, with some of this stuff, it's kind of irrelevant to some extent. But if you can hammer with a lot of negatives, it can really screw up your account, especially if you're doing things wrong. So wanted to throw this out there and talk about the craziness there when it comes to selling blazers and stuff like that, and then just the pure fact of people, are just boom, negative feedback. There it is. They're not reaching out. They don't want to return the item. If there was a problem that you're going to leave negative, why wouldn't you want your money back if it doesn't fit, right? So it's hard to tell who some of these buyers are on eBay. It's hard to please them, to be honest with you. I can reach out and say, hey, listen, hey, buddy, saw the negative feedback. What can we do to, satisfy your needs? And, hey, do you want to return the item, et cetera, et cetera. I can go through that whole step there, but I'm busy. And since they weren't, obviously they're busy as well. They didn't want to reach out to me and offer return. I don't really care. It's one little negative feedback, not going to bother me, and just move on. But I'll be honest with you guys, in the past 7-8 years since I've been selling men's blazers, this is the first negative I ever got based on my calculations and how I measure things, and it's clearly spelling things out. So this isn't my first blazer I've ever sold, and it's definitely not going to be the last. So just to throw that out there. So if maybe you guys are out there selling, make sure you're measuring these things correctly. There's a ways to measure them correctly and calculate a lot of the data that's out there. So, but we're going to move on from this point here. We're going to look at this as just a buyer just wasn't happy. We got a negative. We're not going to let this bother us. We're just going to keep moving forward. All right, so I want to give you guys an update on a couple sales I had from a video I made back in October. I went to the store Ross Dress for Less and picked up 2 items. One was a pair of Nike running shoes, and another was a Adidas watch. And I want to talk about these briefly because I did sell these items, and they took some time to sell. Roughly, they took about 3 months. And when you're doing any type of retail arbitrage, whether it's at Ross or online or whatever, the margins aren't going to be as huge as it would be, let's say, going to a thrift store and finding something for $1 and selling it for $100, obviously, right? All these items do take time. Even brand new name brand items like Adidas and Nike take some time. So I wanted to kind of throw this in today's video. So for some of you guys that might be new, I wouldn't just go out and buy Nike shoes. Yes, Nike shoes sell every day, but sometimes they take some time, that's for sure. And here's 2 examples of 2 major name brands that took some time to sell. Now, as you can see, I paid $32.99 and for the shoes and $29.99 for the watch plus taxes. So we're in it for about $68.46. Did sell this Adidas women's Aberdeen watch with a silicone band, pink dial. And I had this on Amazon, eBay, and Mercari. And it sat there. I had watches on eBay and Mercari. Got a lot of lowball offers on Mercari. And, just took close to about 87 days, and it finally popped. $69.95 on the watch there, which was pretty good, right? Considering I only paid $29.99 for it. So the ROI at the end of the day was about 74%, which is good. That's kind of like where I want to be at when it comes to the arbitrage items, is at least above 50%. Because when you got items sitting like this that take time to sell, you start looking at a 20-30% margin, and they take a long time to sell. I mean, it could put you in a hole there. You're going to have some cash tied up in some products. But this did sell. It took some time. There was a little bit of competition there, and I was a little higher priced than everybody else. But at the same time, just, again, you're waiting for that one particular buyer to come through. And that's a perfect example of these Nike shoes that I picked up, these Nike Metcon DSX Flyknit Trainer. These were the Crimson Hyper Orange shoes, size 10.5. They were new, no box, and average selling price for these, from what I was looking up on data-wise, you know, on Amazon and eBay, was around the $100 mark, right? But as I bought these shoes and dug further into when I listed them, they were selling for $60 to $70, brand new, right? And you know, this was a perfect example of just an item there that just was sitting forever, and I had to discount it to drive, you know, some cash back into my pocket, right? I had this on Mercari. I was getting offers about 35 or 40 religiously with these, like it seemed like every week. So I decided to run a sale on eBay, 30% off, and that's what they sold for, $67.17. So the ROI on this one was about 35%, and you know, I'm happy with it. I mean, I wish I could have gotten the $100 mark. I probably could have if I kept waiting it out. But after close to 90 days, I'm like, you know, we got to start moving some of this stuff. So, you know, it's interesting when you look at eBay in general. I sold both of these items on eBay. But eBay, you know, there's all different types of items sell out there, whether it's new or used or collectible or whatever it may be. And there's so many different ways to make money reselling. You know, I think the arbitrage approach is, it's a viable business, but the margins are smaller, and it's like anything. You're waiting on the sale to happen, right? You know, you can go out and buy these shoes for, you know, $32.99 like I did plus tax, and sell them for $50 and make a quick $10, sure. But was that worth your time, right? To source that item at Ross and, you know, go back, take some photographs for $10. You know, and this is where my approach is with eBay moving forward. It's like, you know, is it worth your time? I look at everything like, how much time does it take me to list this DVD that I'm going to sell for $11? Well, literally, you know, under a minute. And so that's an opportunity where it's like, that's a low barrier to time and you know, putting an effort to an item. Whereas you have a pair of shoes, you know, I take multiple shots of the shoes and turning it around, a little bit of editing, not much, but there was some time involved. So overall, they're win-wins, and I didn't want to make this video here today just to rag on eBay in terms of the returns and the negative feedback. You know, I use eBay every day, and I've been using them for years. Do I agree with everything they do? I don't, you know, and but I'm going to keep using it for my benefit. There's no doubt about it, and that benefit is to make money. So as we move forward here throughout my channel, I'll be sharing more stuff with eBay. Just in the mode right now for a lot of the local stuff that's going on, the flea market, trying to move some products left and right here. As it gets hot, you know, I'll be settling more into listing in bulk. I haven't been crazy listing. I have been listing on other platforms, eBay, Amazon, Mercari, Etsy for sure. Just not as heavily as I used to in the past because I'm really focused on getting rid of a lot of the junk that I have. So again, just wanted to share these two items with you guys, share these stories about the ups and downs of reselling, and you know, especially if you're new and you're diving into this, you're not understanding that you can get returns. You know, you're going to get people leaving you negative feedback, and items that might be amazing. And you see somebody on YouTube here selling Nike shoes every day, making hundreds of dollars, buying them for $32 and selling for $150. You know, the reality is sometimes they don't sell for $150, right? You know, and this is an example here of a pair of shoes that didn't. So appreciate you guys watching today's video. If you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up. Till next time I'm out of here. Peace. Vlog over.